Hi, and welcome to this new episode where I have a special guest, and I'm really eager to introduce her to you and have this chat with her. And I hope that you will learn a lot and find inspiration and become more curious about yourself. I am Monica. If you don't know me from before, I am a divine channel, a soul gift activator, and a feminine embodiment mentor. And you can find special human beings here on my YouTube channel, where I have very inspiring chats with them and their history and what they do. You can also find meditations, channelings from the Greek goddesses, whom I am a channel for, and a lot of other things to help you on your spiritual journey back home to yourself. So today I have, as I said, a special guest with me, and she is a human design coach, a QHHT practitioner with Dolores Cannon, an astrocartographer, is that correct? Yeah, good, and a spiritual mentor. And I want her to really introduce herself and tell you more about what she do and her speciality. So welcome, Dorothee Andrew.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. So I'm Dorothee, and I'm a human design coach. So this is my main profession, you can say, right now. And but I came a long way to be at that point in my life. So basically, I started off, and this is why I love human design so much, that I wouldn't know myself. For everyone who don't know human design or has never heard of it, it is kind of like an instruction manual for your life. So it can really give you an idea who you are, what your life mission is, what your gifts are, and yeah, how you function as a human being. And for me, this was the greatest gift that I could receive a few years back, because I was on a path where I was so lost. I was working in the wrong job. I was facing a burnout, and I was really deeply longing from the universe sending me like a gift, or let's say some clues or some signs what I should do. And then I found human design through a friend. She said, "You're a manifesting generator." And I said, "And what?" So for me, this was all like as if someone would speak a different language. And for the people who maybe know human design or have already seen a chart, it is a little bit like astrology. It looks super overwhelming, and at the beginning I thought I will never learn it. But the more I read about it, the more I learned also about myself, and then about others, my family, my children. And so I thought, wow, this is amazing. It really tells you who you really are.
Yeah.
And this is why I was so passionate about it. And it all started for me 7 years ago, where I was during COVID. I quit my job in the finance department. I worked for a big auditing company for 10 years. And then I would go into nature, and nature is really is nourishing me. I love to be in nature. I live right next to the forest. And so it would, every time I would go through the forest, it's kind of like I could hear the beings speaking with me.
Yeah. Love that.
And it would just open my consciousness, because in the end, this is the first step when you are in a transition phase, that you need to change your state first. Yeah, from being like, oh, I'm depressed at my old job, I want to change, but then like feeling this spark within, like, no, there is more. I want to change. It's kind of like a new seed is like sprouting.
Yeah.
How I felt back then. And like the universe and also nature would support me in this. So yeah, and then I learned human design. First I studied it by myself, and then I did like a professional training, and now I'm sitting here.
Yeah. 7 years. Wow. It's so fun because your story is very much like myself. Like the longing for more, like there should be more out there. And I moved from Oslo, the biggest city in Norway, and back home to the north of Norway, where we're basically in nature. And that was also when I had my burnout and my awakening started. And I started to sense like more beings around me, and I started to connect to my guides and nature spirits and everything. And I also really, really felt the support from nature to kind of opening up more of my gifts and individuality. And I find it so fascinating that you can see so much in the human design. It's kind of like almost like a very technical thing, I think. Like you get this chart of yourself, and from that you can tell a lot about how you are as a person, what you're here to do, and as you said, like relationships and everything, and also your purpose. For those who don't know, I had a reading with Dorothee a few weeks ago, where we went through my human design, just I think a little bit of it, even though it was 2 hours long. And it was so fascinating to get this confirmation about things that I already knew about myself, but also like in addition to that. So I'm just curious about like you, when you went into your human design, does it say anything about what you are doing now, like your purpose and your gifts? Do you want to share a little bit?
Yeah, so for me, it was a huge confirmation on many levels. As you said, human design, like to describe it with one sentence, it can analyze the energy, but every energy, like everything around here there is even a human design for plants, for dreams, for animals, for cycles, like life cycles, like the global cycles, not just one human being. You can even see like groups or you and your partner. It's endless. Yeah. So there is no limit, you can say, almost no limit to it. And when I found it, for me, I'm a manifesting generator, and these are people who are very quick with things, and they also are interested in many things. But also in my chart, on top of this, I have a potential that is called the explorer. So I love to explore things. I love to travel around the world. I love to see new things, and these people also get quite bored quite quickly. So I always, like, for example, when I'm in nature and I walk the same path for a few days, I say, oh, let's see when I go now left, what I find there.
Yeah.
So, and this for me was a confirmation, like for you, when we did the reading, like it's not something so new, but it gives you, first of all, this aha moment, like, oh, I'm okay who I am. So, because of course, in the society where we have this upbringing of competition and you have to be this and you have to behave like this, we always think we are wrong and something is not correct or we don't behave correctly. But when we then find out, like, oh, this is actually how I always felt, and it is okay because it belongs to me. This is my natural way of expressing myself. For example, I do a lot with my hands, you see, you don't. So it's like my body's doing this.
Yeah.
So it's like the natural way. You find the natural way of your expression, you can say, with human design. And this was the first thing that helped me a lot. Because for me, as I said, I would start something, then I would stop, or I would do 13 different types of sport when I was little. Not all at the same time, but I was like, oh, let's see what swimming is like, and then I would go there for a year and then that's boring, do badminton instead, and like all these things. And I saw my brother, who's a generator, and generators, usually like the general theme is that they are profound in one thing. So he's really good at playing tennis and just tennis, And for me, I thought, oh, this is so boring. And at the same time, I was comparing myself with him, of course. Yeah. And I was thinking, maybe something is wrong, because maybe I cannot stick with something.
Yeah.
But then when I found this out, it's like amazing,
Yeah, it is. It truly is. And I think it's so great to have that kind of permission slip to be who you are fully, because I also encountered some clients that are kind of almost disappointed with themselves because they can't stick to one thing. They're like, I start one thing and then I quit. And the guides usually say then, I don't know if they're a manifesting generator or what they are in human design, but the guys usually say, but you're meant to explore and then be done with it. Like you're meant to kind of fill up that library of yours. And like your brother, I'm also a generator. And my whole life, I kind of felt that I should be good at something, but I couldn't find what it was. But when I first found it, I'm really good at it, if I may say so myself.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, back to you and your story. So when you had all of these like explorations about what you want to do and what you're good at, did you find that feeling within human design when you started to study it that this is actually something that kind of sticks, or that how was that feeling for you?
Yeah, because I mean, like you said, there is another activation in my chart that is the channel of mastery, but you have to identify with one single thing to do it. Yeah, and I tried many things. I even had a sewing business, like something completely different. Like I'm also a graphic designer, so I did many things. I studied many things. I studied even like economic law, and then I went into finance. So it's kind of, if you look back at, or if I look back at my life, I think, wow, I've lived like 10 lives in one. But this is like with the other activations in my chart, and always being drawn to people. Yeah, so this was since I was very little. I even was in politics for some time.
Wow.
I was really into people, you know, how can I nourish someone? How can I be there for them? How can I make their life better? And this was like the underlying motivation, like how can I find solutions for society even, yeah, or like also the individual. And this is why I love human design so much, because there are two gates. Now I get a little bit more specific for the people who maybe know human design or who are curious and want to see if I'm telling the truth, you know.
Yeah.
Which is 17.4 and 16.4. And these two activations, they let me deeply see the potential of another person. So even when I was little and I had no clue about human design, I would see the other, and I would see immediately if they behave strangely, or if they behave and they wouldn't use their potential. And I was always puzzled, because for me this was like, why is he or she behaving that way when I can see this beautiful potential inside of you? You could say this is a little bit like psychic, but it's kind of like with my design, I'm able to tap into the field of the other person, kind of. Yeah. And this is why also it gave me not just confirmation, but I love it so much because it is so vast, and I would never get bored, because there's always more to learn. As I said, it touches every aspect of life, you can say.
Yeah.
And this is why I love it so much. And it also nourishes my underlying motivation of helping people, and also like being a role model for them, like what it means to be human. And you said if it would help me with my purpose. Yeah. So my purpose in human design is to see the extremes, like the ugly, but also the beauty of humanity, and like the wars, but also like the couple who's kissing in the cafe, you know, and you can feel the love when you just see them. So, and I can remember when I was little, I would love to watch documentaries with my dad. So like sitting in front of the television and just taking it all in, and just watching various aspects of how humans behave, or also nature documentaries, or documentaries about the stars and the universe and so on. So I was always very much interested in taking in everything, like zooming out, having the big picture, and then taking that knowledge and bringing it back down, and seeing for the individual what the individual person needs. Yeah.
Mm, mm. That's really, really fascinating. And yeah, it kind of describes the work that I experienced with you very, very well as well. That the thing about seeing potential and seeing the gifts of others. And I feel also, or I felt when we had our session together, that it wasn't just kind of knowledge coming through you. I felt there was more like the intuitive reading of the field that you were talking about as well. That was really, really cool. And I was just stunned how good you were. And I want, for the people that don't know human design like at all, I wanted to kind of take everything back and start from the beginning. Can you tell us where human design came from? Then we're going to go a little bit further into, I think, like the types, just really, really shortly, what exists. So let's start with the beginning of human design.
So human design was brought into the world in 1986 by Robert Alan Krakauer. So this is his original name. It's a guy from Canada. He already died, but he was teaching human design for over 25 years. And the experience, like how this knowledge came to him, I know you're like, this is like a spiritual channel, but still to make it available for many people to, like I tell this story that way, that he had kind of like a near-death experience. And when you think of people who have a near-death experience and then they wake up from the coma, they sometimes have abilities that they wouldn't have before. Let's say they can, for example, play the piano. And before they would never touch a piano. It had nothing to do with that aspect or music in general. And for him, it was the same. So the knowledge was in his head. For those who really want to have the true story, there is a film on YouTube for free. It's called The Encounter with a Voice. It was a voice speaking to him for a week and transmitting this whole information. And basically, this is how the knowledge came into the world. And it is a combination out of 5 ancient wisdom traditions. It is the astrology is in there. Then we have the Kabbalah, aspects of the Kabbalah, the Brahmic chakra system. We have a little bit of astrophysics and quantum physics in there. The 𝐸𝐶hing. The 𝐸𝐶hing is like the foundation, like the building block of the whole chart itself. So the 𝐸𝐶hing, for people who don't know it, it's a very old, ancient, it's called the Book of Change or the Book of Wisdom from China. It's over 6,000 years old. So all of these individual ancient wisdom techniques, he wouldn't need to study. It was just in his brain, and they would be like combined in that way, as you can see it then in the chart. And the fascinating thing about this is he always said, don't believe me, just do it and find it out for yourself if it works. And in all these years for myself now, and also looking at my children, seeing them growing up and having everything that's written in the chart, for me, this is truth. This is truth, how I believe truth right now. Because of course we can also always change, but it is super accurate.
It is.
Yeah, so this is like how the whole knowledge came to him. And at the beginning, for him, it was so shocking because for him, he had no clue what that means. And he would, like, he had to write it all down, but then he would just throw everything into the bin and say, no, what should I do with it? Yeah. And then he told a friend and he said, wow, this is amazing. You need to, I don't know, do something with it. So only his friends encouraged him to then do something with it, write a book about it, and then finally teach it.
Yeah.
So this is how it came into the world. And it is what he always said, it is for children and of course their parents, but it is mainly for children that we stay longer in our abilities, because for the ones who have children, they know that children are very open, so they're open to the spirit realm, and by living according to the design, it is possible to keep the frequency of your body, your energetic system, higher, and having these abilities for longer. And this is what we need in the future.
That makes so much sense. It's interesting while you were talking about this story and all, I had like the goddesses on speed. They were like, this came down because in 1986, that's very recent compared to astrology and all of the other ancient techniques that you were speaking about, that's many thousands of years old. They said to me that it is preparing humans for the new world. Like the individual is going to, come step forward and become kind of the center instead of few people. Yeah, that was just this little bit of a message that came in while you were speaking. But it makes so much sense what you're saying about the children and keeping the high frequency, because we are also now in a time where new souls are entering the world, which is souls that are very, very open and comes with kind of new abilities or ancient abilities, if you want. And I think also it's so important when you know your children and how they work and their design to actually help them and support them in what they are here to bring, because they are bringing codes and frequencies to support the earth and humanity. And I want to go like a little bit into the different types. So what you were saying about like supporting your type, that was also what I experienced myself. I think the first time I heard about human design must have been in 2021, like very briefly, and I checked like very briefly not my chart, but my type and profile. And there was so many things just falling into place for me, because I'm a generator and I'm kind of here just to be alive and have fun. And I was like, wow, what a life. And also when I learned the sensations that I have about frustration, feeling like things that I don't want to do, and actually honoring that and saying no to things that I don't want and saying yes to things that I really want, it made my life so much easier. And I think also that helped me open more of my gifts that came in and was activated in 2022. Let's go through the different types, like really briefly, the name of it and kind of like the basic energy around the type.
Basically, there are just 4 types, although we have 5, and I will explain the differentiation. So the first one really is, let's say, and make an analogy of a fire. Yeah. So the first one is a manifestor. Only 8% of humanity are like manifestors. So they are here to set the spark, like, and light the spark. And they are, most of the time, you can think of these people, they really have an authority. They sit like kings or queens, and you would experience these people like kings and queens. Yeah, they're quite rare. As I said, 8% of humanity. So they come in, they manifest or initiate something like the spark, and then the 2 energy types come, like the manifesting generator that I am, or like the generator that you are. And we sustain the fire with our energy. So we are energy types. And the energy types are here to really, when they get hooked by something, as you said, like when we identify with something, then we sustain that. We work with this and we nourish it. Then we have a type which is called projector, and it's a non-energy type. Why non-energy? Because they have like a receptor inside of them who is sensing these energy types and is like a guide. So projector is like a guide. I also like to call this type coordinator. So they are here to coordinate these energy types like a guide or a leader, and put them into the places where they are needed. So meaning, we have the manifestor who set the spark, then the others sustain the fire, but the projector is then looking from the outside, what does the fire need? Where do we need more? So he's like kind of a guide, or let's say these are the team leaders in companies or even in small groups. who can really feel how much energy the individual person has, or for what they have energy, and then place them in the correct area or in the correct department when you look in a company. And they only like 20% of humanity. And then we have the most rarest type, which is only 2% of humanity. And in their chart, they super receptive, because like it's kind of like they let all the energy in and they can feel really deeply. So they stand then outside with the others, you know, who are having fun in the middle with the fire, and they observers, yeah, or they're called reflectors. I like the other term of being an observer. So they really see the quality of the fire, the health of the fire, like whatever is built here in the middle with all the energy that is put into it. Is it really healthy what we do there? So these people who are reflectors, they are super important for society, and as I said, they are quite rare, or even for a company, because they can see, is this company healthy, or do they put energy into something that is not healthy or was not meant to be like this in the first place? There's much more I can say about the type. Yeah. I think this analogy of having the fire analogy is maybe quite good to understand.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so fascinating every time after I encountered human design, and I kind of brought that forward to my friends and all, and clients even, like, you should check what you are. I always get the feedback of, oh my God, they're speaking about me. And now I understand myself so much better. And it's so fun and it's so fascinating to figure out how you work and how you're meant to work. In addition to these 4.5 types.
Let's say 5.
Yeah, 5. You also have like profiles, and that kind of numbers, 2 numbers set together that says something about you as well. Do you want to just go through the numbers a little bit? I think you explained it really neatly and easily to me in our reading, the 1 to 6.
Maybe I add a little bit to the types first, because for someone who's new to all of this, they say, okay, now I know when I'm a projector, I have to see what the fire needs, or I'm a manifestor, I need to enlighten. But also what's the foundation of the type theory is really the strategy and authority. So every type has a strategy, how they can, let's say, approach life or go through life more easily with less resistance, you can say. Yeah. So this is the strategy when you read about it later, when you're curious. And also the inner authority is really, how do you make decisions? Do you make decisions out of your guts, or do you make decisions out of your heart, or do you make decisions and you need to watch your emotions? So for example, projectors, they don't feel their gut. Yeah, so when you see then influencers, oh, you just have to follow your gut feeling or your heart. No. And when I have sessions with projectors, they say, oh, but I should follow my gut feeling, but I don't feel it. I said, yes, you cannot, because this is not active in your chart. Never. So, or with manifestors and projectors, they don't have that gut feeling. They go with other authorities, meaning with other signals in their body that lead their way through their life. So this is maybe another thing that's interesting.
Can you give some examples of the other signals? Because I am a one that follows my instincts and gut feeling very much, and I hear that the guides are telling that to people very often, and I tell that and I teach it because that is my experience. But here we are very different, so it's I think it's going to be helpful for the other ones to know.
Yeah, so in total there are 7 different inner authorities, it's called. Actually, a few of them are outer authorities, but this would be too much to explain. Let's stick with the 4 main ones. So for manifesting generators and generators, it's always the gut. It's 70% of humanity are generators and manifesting generators together. and they should always follow their gut feeling, unless they have an emotional authority. So when you have an emotional authority, it means you need to wait until your emotions are in equilibrium and never act on the high of the wave or the low of the wave, because there are always waves going through you. And one day you're super excited, and the next day you're super sad. Yeah. So then we also have the splenic authority, or called intuition. So meaning these are people who they also are quick because they get insights in the now for the now. So they really need to be deeply, deeply connected with their intuition. But also this, I see sometimes that people struggle with it because our school system is not teaching us how to sense and to listen to our intuition.
Right.
The school system always says, go into your mind. What do you think? Yeah. So children, what do you think? Like they never ask, what do you feel?
Exactly.
Really need to do, and this is why every wisdom teacher in the world always says, go within. Go within, go into your body, sense your body, sense what your body is telling you. So these are the three main ones. It's the gut, the emotions, and the intuition. So these are the three main ones. Then we also have one which is self-projected authority, which is the heart. So these people really speak from the heart. So when they then say something, these are also the people who do this self-talk, but they have to, because they need to hear what their heart is saying. But they can only hear it when they speak it out loud. So they stand in the kitchen and they prepare the dinner and they speak with themselves. In that moment, they listen to their inner authority. And these are the ones where you can 100% say, listen to your heart. Yeah. While you're speaking. So to just have a few examples.
Yeah. That's really, really interesting. And I also think that like the gut, the intuition, the feeling, the listening to the heart, it's very similar. So do you have any advice of how to differentiate those to the different people? Like I feel the gut feeling and my intuition is very close. And I kind of feel that also that is connected to the heart, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
There are actually people who could, and to make it more complicated, to be able to listen to both. But this would only be if the intuition center, the splenic center, is connected to the throat. Yeah, so then you can speak your intuition straight away. So I, for example, have that channel, so I can just. This is why you probably felt in that reading that it comes from somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely.
And well, but the difference would really be. And for the intuition, there is also something that is called the strongest sense. So you can see in human design also the strongest sense, which could either be smell or taste or vision, or like hearing and sensing, feeling the frequency, or touch. And this is how your intuition comes. So for example, for people who have outer vision, their intuition is speaking through angel numbers, or they see a heart-shaped stone on the floor, or find the feather in the forest. Yeah, so and this is then a sign. For the ones who have smell, I had people in my sessions, they go into a room and they smell roses, although there are no roses around, or they smell smoke, and then they know that there are some entities, So meaning it really depends on your chart, how your intuition comes to you. So if you, for example, have inner vision, then you speak and you see everything in pictures, and depending on which awareness level, consciousness awareness level you either have just an inner picture like you would read a book, or you have a full-on vision and you see this in front of you, like the future. I had all of them in my readings. So there are many different ways for the intuition. The gut feeling is that you really feel this in your gut. If you're super connected to your chakras, you can even feel how your chakra is opening up or is closing. This would be like a yes. It's like this movement, you know, it opens up. You say, ah, yes, it's like inviting, it's an inviting energy, or it's like, I get stomach ache, pain. I had people who told me they get then the worst thing is like getting diarrhea or really having digestive issues. If there is something that is super against their authority, where the body says, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And then the emotions is really just something that you need to watch. Yeah, it's like when you're on the high of the wave, as I said, ooh, this is so exciting. Don't make a decision. Yeah, it's like, especially for us girls here, go shopping and it's like, oh, this is amazing. Go out of the shop, go to the next one, and when you come back and you're calm, then it's a time to buy, but not in the moment where you're super excited. Or the opposite, let's say you're invited to like a friend is calling you and say, hey, do you come with me to this concert on the weekend? And you're like, oh, I don't feel it, you know. And then 2 days later, the wave is going up again and the weekend is approaching and you think, damn, why did I say no? You know? Yeah. So never make a decision when you have emotional authority in the now. So for you, it always means there is no truth in the now and you have to wait at least a day. Yeah.
That's really good advice, because I think so many people think that they need to answer right away. So actually giving themselves a little bit of time can help them get into the easy flow of living. That's how I felt when I started to connect to my human design and follow that. Like everything became so much easier. Yeah, that's really interesting. Do you want to go into the numbers? 1 to 6, the profile.
Yeah, but just to say that I love that you say that, because I mean, again, in school, when the teacher is asking us something, they immediately expect an answer. And there are just some people, or many people actually, who need longer time to process. Yeah, we have like the emotional awareness, we have the instinctive awareness, we have the mental awareness. And in the end, everything we do, every decision we make needs to be filtered through these 3 centers in the chart always. Well, let's go to the profiles. So just to give you a brief idea. The profiles are like the mode you go through life. So it is something, there are 12 profiles in total. I will not mention them, all of them. I will just go into the 6 main frequencies that make up the profile, or the profiles. So the profiles go from 1 to 6. Yeah, so we have the 1, 3, the 1, 4, then we have the 2, 4, the 2, 5, and so on. Yeah, till 6, 3. Yeah, the 12 ones. And it's called lines. Yeah, so the number 1 is the foundation, is the fundamental building block of everything. So everyone who has a 1 in their profile at in the front, because it's 2 numbers, is here to bring in knowledge. Yeah, it's very deeply knowledge based, and it's people who really study a lot. They love to read a lot. They discover and they create a knowledge base for themselves, and then they share it with others. The 2 says, well, it's great that you have such a vast knowledge base, but we don't need all of this. So I will just pick and will selectively just identify with one topic or one aspect of it, where I then get really good at. And out of this one aspect, I will create a product. Yeah. Or could be a product, but can also be something else. But the people who have the 2 at the beginning of their profile, they are very selective, and not just with what they do in their life, but also with people. Yeah, so when they then feel, oh, but I need to be more open. No, you don't, because it really is also called the hermit line. Yeah, it's like a little hermit crab in the shell, and it's like hiding if there is not the correct person around. Then the 3rd lines come, And the third line is the energy is very playful. It is the adventurer. And the third line says, wow, great. So you created that product. Let me see what I can do with it. So the third line are really happy, joyful, adventurous people who do a lot of trial and error. So they take this product or this information and see what they can do with it. If it is really, they prove it, you can say, yeah, through a trial and error process. And then at the end they say, wow, this is what I now found. This is amazing. And then on top of this comes the 4, and the 4 says, wow, 3, you have found this great thing here and it works. So let me bring this to my community. So the 4th line is really community. It is like the Cancer energy in astrology is very feminine and warm and heart open. So it brings then, let's say, that product into the community and is talking about it, is having that influence on the other. And people who have a 4 in their profile, they love community, they love family and friends, they love to gather with others. Yeah, it's very warm energy around them. Then the 5 comes and says, well, 4, it's nice that you do that in your community, but how about we generalize it and make it available for the whole world? Yeah, so like Steve Jobs, yeah. Or like Microsoft, you know, like putting a PC in every, like a computer in every single household in the whole world.
Yeah.
So this is the 5th line energy. The 5th line energy is really, I can reach the world because what I share, I generalized so much that it is available for everyone, and that is actually something that everyone needs. Yeah, it's something that is also, the 5th line energy is a very charismatic energy. It's like a celebrity energy, I always say. Yeah, so these people, just to give like a little fun fact. So my brother is a 5-1, and on my own wedding, he was a star of the show, although it was my wedding, you know. I mean, I'm fine with that, but just to give you an idea how the 5-1, like 5-1 and 5-2 energy works. So when these people come into a room, it's like, oh, who's that? Yeah. So they're visible, but also they get projected on. So like with celebrities, if we think, oh my God, what has he done? Yeah. So we project ideas and concepts on them, how they have to behave, how they have to be, but actually they cannot match that expectation. This is an important thing to know. You know?
Yeah, I really.
After the 5 is actually the process has ended, because now the product, let's say, is in the world. But then the 6 comes, and the 6 says there must be more. Yeah. So 6 line people are the visionary people. They look beyond. They see the big picture. They kind of like take out of the ether something completely new, and they transform the old into something new. And then with the next one, the whole process starts again. So it's not like it ends with a 6, but it's like a spiral, like the spiraling energy that we see everywhere in the universe, in galaxies, and like our plants when they grow, you know, like the Fibonacci spiral. So, but the 6 is kind of like the transition into the new. So people who have a 6th line, they need to embody the new. They need to embody what they want to see in the world, what they think is missing. Yeah. So, and this is why they always sometimes feel like a big responsibility, maybe, to make that happen.
Yeah. So interesting, and I can really relate, because I'm a 5-1. Does it have anything to say if it's 1-5 or 5-1? Like, does the number are kind of stagnant in the same?
Yeah. So as I said, like when all the numbers I explained is just for the first number, and so for you it's 5. Everything I said when I explained the 5 is for you, and the 1 is more linked to the body. Yeah. So this is it's a different theme. It also has something to say, but it would be too long for today.
Yeah, no, we don't have to go into that, but yeah, it's really interesting to just know how these profile works, because usually when you are looking for your chart, and there's many places online where you can find them for free, you'll get like the type you are, and then like the profile usually personal. So it's gonna say a lot about the essence of you, I think, just to know these basic things. But I'm also really, really curious, because you mentioned that there's human design for everything, like everything that exists, plants and animals, and I guess places, and years, I guess, as well. But I'm really, really interested in, you mentioned dreams. That is so specific, I feel. And that kind of, and dreaming is this mystical thing, I think, because we've had scientists explaining what dreams are, and that it's the body that is digesting the imprints of and impressions of the day. But then again, I kind of don't relate to that. Like just a few times I kind of feel that I'm dreaming about something that I've been speaking about with someone, or something that has happened through the day or are going to happen. But mostly I just dream about people that I don't know, I've never seen before. And also the fascinating thing about some people dreaming in colors, some don't. Can you go a little bit into this? Because I just love the mysticism of the dreams. And I think also many of the people that are listening to it will find it interesting.
So first of all, I think what's super, so first of all, I have a very vast dream life. So what you can see with it's called Dream Rave. There are apps online. It's called, for example, Human Design app, where you can get it. You can get your Dream Rave chart, but then you need to have a translator. First of all, what we need to differentiate is there are different realms that you can access during your sleep. There are dream realms, but there are also other realms, like the fourth dimension, for example, the astral dimension, where you could perceive it as a dream, but it is not a dream. Okay, so in human design, it's just really giving the information for the dream itself, because the theory behind it is we are actually in like in a field which is like a field of consciousness that is kind of like a program, you can say, like a computer program, like a code. And for us, we get programmed throughout the night. Yeah, when we sleep, we get programmed and kind of, let's say, get a letter for the next day, what our mission is on that day. So the founder of Human Design described this, that we have 3 levels. So we have the light field, we have the earth realm, and we have the demon realm. And also during the night, our chart changes. So because we lay on our side, there are some aspects in the chart that fall away. For example, our head center, the head centers, they are not there then anymore, because we're not thinking. It's like we're not actively thinking. It's more like our whole body is still working and everything in here needs to work. But there is no active thinking, like, oh, I need to breathe or whatever. Everything is done automatically. And how does it work? So, as I said, the chart then is completely different during the night, and you have different activations. And there are some activations where you, for example, are able to remember your dreams. There are 3 different gates where you, when you have them activated, you can remember your dreams. Otherwise, it is much harder to remember them, or you have to wait for a transit. Yeah. So meaning some people say, oh, I remember everything. Why can't you do that? Well,
yeah,
because of that. Yeah. Or even there are different stages or different experiences through your or in your dream life that give you an idea with which realm you're dealing with right now. The light realm, which you could say is like the angels, your guides, your higher self, they programming us, for example, through sound. Yeah, so when you, for example, hear something during your dream, someone is speaking with you, or even in this in-between phases, in this like you're almost waking up and you hear like a little bell ringing or something like this, it is always from the light field. So the light field is bringing in new information. Then we have the earth realm, and the earth realm is all the people who are awake while you're dreaming and while you're sleeping.
Ah, really?
Well, this is actually the worst because why? Because this is the theory, okay, that I know.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily what I believe, but I experienced that as well. So meaning, let's say here in Europe, we sleep, and then on the other side of the world, in China or in Asia, the people are awake. So meaning when they are balanced out, when there is peace, this is what is like kind of imprinted on us. But when they are like sleeping and we are here not in the best state, this is what then is imprinted on them. Yeah, so kind of. But also the people who are awake are able to go into the dreams of the people who are sleeping. Yeah, so there is some influence. But also it really depends which activations you have, if you are receptive for this or not. And then we have the demon realm. He called it demon realm, but it's not that there are demons. It's more like inner earth beings and elemental beings who also help us, but they want to help us with our body. So meaning there are specific dreams that you can have that are an indicator for your health. For example, if you have dreams, but only if you have that gate, this specific gate then activated, or this activation in your dream wave chart. For example, I have this activation which is dreaming of death. Yeah. I die in my dream, or I see someone dying, or I'm in a war zone or something like this, then this is an indicator that my body is not healthy. So actually the demon realm is one of the best realms to work with your dream when you have activations there, of course. Some people have no activations there, they only work with the light field. And they really help you to nourish your body and to stay healthy in the way they can do it. Yeah. So every single aspect of your dream has a meaning according to human design. For example, dreaming of that you can fly, or dreaming that you're in a specific environment, dreaming of fight. It all has a specific meaning and has a code that you can translate into the day life or in your daily life and then work with it.
That is so fascinating. So interesting. So basically, the people that don't remember their dreams, they don't really need that assistance. Like they don't need that beyond assistance.
Well, it's just not part of their experience. Remember dreams when there is, for example, a transit. Yeah, so you also have these transits, and then your dream life is more bold, or is like you, for some reason, remember them. Of course, also you can train all of these aspects. Yeah. But it is like within your normal chart, we have white areas, and the white areas are like schools that we can attend. And it's the same with the dream chart. So the white areas are aspects that you can learn, but it would take a little longer than for people who just fall asleep and they're like, oh, I can see the movie starts. So you can learn everything. It doesn't mean that you never experience a dream, but it is, let's say, it's not natural.
Yeah. Oh, that's so fascinating. Like everything about dreams, I find it's so So interesting. And is there also any like theory about you tapping into parallel lifetimes through dreams, or remembering experiences that your soul have had in other lifetimes? Do you know anything about that, or is that not like in this theory?
Well, not in that theory. I've experienced that many times. Like really stepping into like a past life in my dream, which is then like a lucid dream, but I know that it is not happening in the past because it's like, for example, I was in Africa and it looks exactly like now, you know? And if we would go like, I don't know, 5,000 years back, it would look completely different. It would not have houses and cars and whatever else. So it's like I would be there. And like the sensation is when you tap into a past life in a dream, there is always a learning, at least for me. There's always a learning included and a healing can take place. So meaning I saw myself then there as it was actually a very horrible thing, but it matches my purpose, you know, my incarnation cross my life mission, which was like an abuse. Yeah, so the mother would look away when the father would abuse the child, but I was there then, like kind of like a spirit, probably because parallel lives are often lives that happen simultaneously, you know. So maybe this child there is really living in Africa right now, which is also me. Is like I'm like my soul, my oversoul or my higher self, if you want to call it like this, is incarnated there at the same time. So I would then she would experience me like an angel, maybe like going there, and I could really feel in that dream. I placed my hand on her back because she was crying so heavily on the floor, you know. The rest of what I saw, I don't want to go deeper into, but I could feel like through me then went so much healing energy for this child that in the next morning when I woke up, I could feel like some healing for myself even took place. You know, because when you experience parallel lives, it not just gives you an idea what other aspects of you are existing, but also it's always about all of these lives are connected. We are always connected to the other realms, the other parallel worlds even. And it's kind of like you heal an aspect there, or you understand an aspect because you see it, you experience it like as if it would be real, because for me it was a lucid dream. And then it's like you take it back into this life and you change. It's like a little twist in your character or a little twist in your, let's say, your wounding, and it's kind of it goes away. Yeah, it fades away just by you being able to witness it.
So fascinating. I think like we can go really deep into that, but I think we have to just lay the dreams to rest a little bit. But I would love us to just go into a few other things that I experienced with you, that kind of weaving what I do for a living with what you are doing for a living. And in my signature program in the Goddess Awakening, we are discovering the gifts and the soul purpose of the person, and also like embodying the feminine essence and so on. But what we also are discovering is the archetype of the person. So I'm channeling the archetypes for the group. And also if you have one-on-one sessions with me, we usually look into this because it says something about who you're here to be or become. And I found that like that was the same thing in human design, but just it comes through a little bit different way. And also the purpose, when you and I were speaking about my purpose, it's the same purpose, but just said in a different way. Because I've had my purpose through like channeling, and then I have it like from you in human design, and I also have it from astrology, and everything is kind of saying something about the purpose, because the purpose is kind of the vast thing that you're here to experience as a soul. But it's just like angled in a little bit different way. So it's kind of giving more layers to the purpose. And I find it so interesting. And then you have the archetypes as well that says, as I said, who you're here to be or become, what kind of essence you're bringing in. I just found that really fascinating that you can find that confirmation through human design as well, and say so much about like your uniqueness and your speciality of the design of you and your individual. And there as well, I found like a lot of the same archetypes that I have been channeled before. So like the leader, for example, that was in my chart, and that is something that I know that I'm here to be, and I'm kind of growing more and more into. But then there's more like archetypes that says a lot about you. Can you tell us about the archetypes? Are there a specific number of archetypes that's put together, or are there like new ones coming up?
So this comes with, so it is measured by, like, it is kind of like a representation of all the aspects that you have in the chart. So you could be a leader, or you could be a team supporter, or you can be a maker and shaker. So these individual archetypes really help, for example, when you do a job reading, if you want to know which place in the company should I, for example, inhabit, or like for you, like a leader. So if you are a team leader and you're here to lead a group or support like your community, if you would be in a role in a company or even in your private life where you cannot have an impact, it's kind of your whole energy dies a little bit, and you're always sad, and it's kind of it's like a flower that you don't water. Yeah. If you don't find your archetype, and if you're sitting in the wrong role for what you were made for. So there are, I think in total there are 9 different ones, because it also is connected then to the types. So every single type can have a different, it's just the name is different, but mainly it's like being a leader or not, being like a team worker or not. Not everyone is made to be working in a team. Am I an expert? Yeah, so an expert is someone who's only occasionally coming into a team and is supporting the team with their expertise, and then is leaving the team again. But the bees, you know, like the busy bees, they're always in the team and they love to be together and work together. And then we have the team leader who is like giving instructions for the bees, you can say, like for the team workers. But then maybe also is leaving the team, but is having a huge impact on the team, and is also bringing in a lot of work. It's kind of like giving the blueprint. Yeah, so you already have the idea, you have the blueprint, you have the concept, and you put it on the table, you place it on the table, and you say, okay, you're good at this, you do that task. You're good at this, you do that task. And this is really important if you want to know like where your place is, you can say, yeah, in a team or even in a work environment, or even in your family. If you're a team leader and you have no impact on your family, this feels off, yeah. And it's like there is then that some longing inside of you, and this longing will never stop until you have found this leadership role, for example. Or if you're a team supporter, then you will look for a team, and as long as you haven't found the team, you will have this longing. It's like a longing in your heart.
Yeah. I really recognize myself in that. I think that was connected to something else in my chart, like feeling that there must be something more. That was something that I had while I was working as a pharmacist, and I felt so caged, and I was like, this is just wrong, and I wanted to do things my way, and everything. And everything just kind of, it was like a burden lifted from my shoulders when I finally step into the work that I do now. So yeah, it's really interesting and fascinating how all of these things can support us so much in living a better life. Basically. And like you were a little bit into this, like it's you can take a look at the human design in business and money and yeah, family life and everything.
Yeah, because the chart is active since birth. Yeah, so you can even tap into like we have like woundings, or we have also like core wounding that is influencing us. We can see if we have limiting beliefs and how to solve them, or like get rid of them. You can even see which area you need to work with most. So the mental, the emotional, or the physical. And this is how you then can like you see even what your body needs, like which exercises are good for you or not. So let's say you should work with the mental aspect, and you have a 3 at the number on the profile on the back. Yeah, so meaning, for example, 1 3, and you have a lot of mental activity. So meaning you could do a breathwork session, because a 3 is a breathwork. It's using your breath, having lots of oxygen in your body, also living in a place where you have good air quality, and then doing a breathwork session. And while doing the breathwork, seeing what comes up mentally, which limiting beliefs you cannot get out of your mind, for example. But if you have the same profile, like 1 3, and you have emotions, you would need an exercise that is bringing up emotions inside of you. So, for example, holotropic breathing. I don't know if that rings a bell for you, but this is like this really intense, where this like breath, but for an hour. If you do that, like all your cells there is so much going on inside of you that these emotions, they are cracked open. Or if you have 1 3 and you should focus on your physical aspect, then running is a good thing. Yeah, so really moving your body and feeling how the oxygen is like going into every part of your body, and really feeling this oxygen within. But it's more like being focused on the physical.
Yeah.
And these are the areas. Yeah, there is a different strategy for everyone. There is not one where you can say, oh, we generalize it. And also why it's so hard to do like to give like a general answer, because everyone is so unique. And this is what human design shows us, that we are unique, incarnated consciousness and form.
Yeah, exactly. That was basically what I wanted to say. Like, some find a thing that really just changed their lives, and then they give this advice to their friends and family and loved ones, like you should really try that, and they do, and they have no effect at all, because obviously it's not a match with their design. But we're going to start to wrap this up slowly. There's so many things that I want to go into, but we don't have the time. I just want to, love to hear a little bit about your offerings as well in the end. But first, I just want to just tap into, because you were speaking about transits. Can you just explain what a transit is for people? What is it and what's happening?
Yeah, like a fun example from myself. I just shared like a few days ago on Instagram, or my Instagram, is so we have transits, which are like the planets. Every single day they move, or actually our Earth is rotating, and this is why we see them move. So, but meaning the planets itself in our chart activate potential that is either dormant, or we don't usually have it, and it is something that is waking up. And for me, for almost 7 years, back in the days, I had, or let's say like 10 years ago, I had the gate 27, which is the gate of cooking and baking and nourishing and looking after the offspring and so on. Of course, in that time, I had children, and now they're a little bit older, but I was so deeply into cooking and baking. I would, like a crazy person, go into every store and bookshop and buy cookery books. Yeah. And because I'm a sixth line, I have to embody it. So I would look not just into the individual aspects, how you can nourish yourself, like with food, but also I would have my own greenhouse. I would then create or like build flower beds. I would grow my own food. I would go into every single aspect that I could find because of this adventure channel, you know. Looking into everything, otherwise I get bored. Into microbiotic eating and like vegetarian, and then even vegan. So I was in vegetarian and vegan also for that time. And then after also going deeper into the blood type diet, I would again then change my whole diet. So, but now, since almost like 1.5 years, this transit is gone, and I don't have this 27th gate active anymore. So I have no energy whatsoever to do like a fancy meal, yeah, or cook a fancy meal. It doesn't mean that I don't have the knowledge. I still have the knowledge. I could cook exactly the same. I have the cookery books in my kitchen, but there is no energy to support this. So the transits are something that we are here to learn in a specific moment of time. And if some of you who are seeing this think, oh my God, I had this also, or in this like particular phase of my life, I was super interested in this and that aspect. Yes, and now it's gone, and it's okay because it was just there for that moment. It was needed in that particular phase of your life, and now you do something else.
Can you, based upon the planets and astrology, kind of predict these chances, like what's going to happen most likely in your life so and so many years into the future? Like here you might feel like this and doing like this compared to now.
Yeah, you can. So of course you cannot see how exactly it plays out, but you can definitely see like that you have to do it. So for example, for myself, again, like to make an example, in this phase where I'm right now, so also you get like, you have different life stages, and in these stages you get like a mini mission. You have this overall life mission, but you have these mini missions, and mine, for example, right now is uncertainty. So meaning I myself experience uncertainty in some sense or some way or another, but also I help other people through uncertainty and like transformation, and help them in these transition phases of their life. So many of my clients come exactly when there is a stage of life where there is a big major shift or a big transformation in their life happening. And you can predict this, but you never know how exactly it plays out. For example, I have the channel of the presenter, what I'm doing now. No, I present something. I have a podcast, or like I'm here invited to this. But also I would then give workshops and have my retreats and so on. So there is this need in the background from the universe pushing me into these situations.
Yeah.
And I cannot help it, but then I also have to learn that quality. But how it will be, I could also stand on stage somewhere if I would be a 5-1 probably.
Yeah.
So, you know, depending on the rest of your chart, you can then see how it might play out for your life.
Yeah.
But it is definitely something that where you get pushed into. So if you would have seen me 10 years ago, I wouldn't even speak. You know, I would just sit there, shut my mouth, you know, because this was not the theme of my life back then.
I guess you could probably see something similar in my chart. I was very, very shy when I was younger. And then like during my 20s, I'm starting to share more and become more of who I am. And also like speaking on stage a little bit, but I feel that might come again. So it's really interesting that you just picked that example up right now. But yeah, it's so interesting, everything. And like in the very end, what people need is their birth of time and date and birthplace.
Yeah.
And then you kind of get the chart out of that.
Exactly. So everything you would need for a horoscope to get your astro chart is the same that you need for human design. So meaning your time of birth, your birthday itself, and then the place of birth.
Yeah.
That's everything we need. I always get asked if the name has also an influence, because the name carries frequency, no? But this is doesn't really matter in human design.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap up completely. I know that you have a lot of offers. Do you want to mention some of the ones that you have, or the things that you do, so people can know what they can come to you for? Obviously, they can come to you for everything in human design, but you have kind of like, specific kind of packages offering things.
So basically, I have 3 offers, which is human design readings, human design workshops, and then also retreats. Right now, there are only like readings and workshops, because I don't offer any retreats right now. But so the readings could really be from the beginning, like having a reading for a child, or you want to understand your child better. This is a kid's reading. So you're getting deeply into, what is my child capable of? How do I nourish it? Because my child is like a seed that at some point is sprouting and wants to flourish. And how can I support my child best? So this is the kids reading. Then, of course, for yourself, if you're a parent, but also if you're man, woman, old, young, doesn't really matter. That the age also doesn't matter at all. So my youngest clients, apart from the kids readings that I do, was 15. She was 15, and the oldest was 82. So there is no limit for getting a reading. So you can get a basic reading to have a basic understanding of your chart, or a full reading where we go really deeply into everything and all your questions. Then, of course, if you're in a transition phase for a job transition, or you don't really know where is my correct place, then this would be a job potential reading. Then we have the cycles that I just talked about, like in my cycle right now, for me, everything is about presentation and being a teacher, articulating myself. So these are the life cycle readings, and we have several ones where you can really see what is up for me right now. What do I need to learn right now? Where are my obstacles? Why am I facing this? Is that normal? I experience that fear. Does that fear really belong to me? Yeah. So this is something that comes up in the life cycle reading. Then talking about families, we can also not just look at one person, but we could look at a couple, which is a relationship reading, like you and your partner, you and your child, you and your parents, like also looking at the relationship. What was there in the past? Why did I experience my mother so differently than my dad? Yeah, where are the obstacles? Where is my core wounding out of my childhood? And why do I have to experience it that way? Or even with your partner, where are the triggers? Why is he behaving like this? And how can we improve the relationship through communication? We have family readings where we look at the whole family and we see what the family is good at, because also as a family, we sometimes compare ourselves with other families and like, oh, they always have these neat pictures on the wall and so on. Yeah, maybe it's not for you. Maybe it's not for your family. Maybe it's just an ideal that you're chasing that you can never make real or make it happen, because the energy in your family is just not supporting this. So these are the readings that I offer. And then this year I offer several workshops about the core wounding. So they're more specialized, so they go much deeper into a topic. As I said, like the core wounding, what is it? Which core wounds do we have? How to heal them? It's the next one in end of February. Yeah. We have like the goddesses. You can see to which goddess you are connected to in your chart. and much more. So I would recommend to just look into the link. I will send the link.
Yeah, you have to just send us the links, and we will have that in the show notes so people can find you and book your beautiful readings. And I also want to just emphasize, when you're having a reading like that, almost like when people come to me for a channeled reading, they usually go out with this new clarity about themselves and their life, and especially when it comes to like other people, like you were saying, family constellation or partners or whoever it is that you are kind of having a look at, just giving the clarity of how you are, kind of the constellation between you are working and what you're meant to learn and everything. I think that gives way for a deep healing as well, because you get clarity, and clarity is healing. So having a reading with you is, I think it can transform a lot of lives in many levels. I want to have them all. I have to wait until I get kids though to have the kids thing. But yeah, I can highly recommend Dorothee. She is exceptional, and she has so much wisdom about this. And I love the way, as I said, like you're tapping in, and you're so warm, and you're so authentic, and it's so easy to be in your sphere and your energy. Even though when you and I had the reading, it was the first time we ever met. It was just, really, really lovely. And the people can also find you on Instagram, you mentioned. Is there any other places you are?
I also have a YouTube channel, but it's mainly in German still. So I'm trying to have more and more content in English. Also right now I have like or start to translate some aspects of my website and then have it available in English. Otherwise, I have the description. I have a link to my calendar where you can read everything through it. Also, if you have more questions, I also offer like a 15 minutes free call where you can just get an idea if you are now so puzzled with all the information and you say, okay, I watched the video, but Dorothee, I need more help. Yeah, so I offer like a 15 minutes free call where we can just get together. You can see me and I can give a recommendation what's best for you.
And I also wanted to mention for you who are listening that there might be a cooperation, a workshop between you and me, where we are weaving together our expertises, you of the human design and me of channeling and energy work, later on this spring, possibly. So if you're curious about that, you should stay tuned to get more information as we approach spring more and more. And I'm really looking forward to do that with you. I think it's going to be really, really clarifying for a lot of people, but also a great support for the time that we're in. And I think, let's just leave it with that.
Yeah. We could get on for another hour, I think.
Yeah, I think. But thank you so much for coming, for taking the time to be here and share all of your wisdom. And as I said, I hope that this has sparked some curiosity in you who are listening, and that you find Dorothee and figure more out of what is lying within you and what you are carrying of your uniqueness and speciality and individuality, and so you can live a better life and feel more free. I think that is like in the end, we just feel more free because we can be more of ourselves. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me to talking about this great tool that shows you really deeply who you are, who you're made to be or meant to be, and that gives you the idea how to discover yourself. And really, as you said, like I have so many people in my sessions who at some point like it's like there is this freedom that is kicking in, where they then say, oh my god, I'm so happy that I now finally can be who I really am. It's like
100% important note to take in the end of this session. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode with Dorothee and me, and I hope that I'll see you next time. Bye.